How's it going, YouTube? Forsaken Classics here. Let's do a video on an oil change. One of the most simple things you could do to save money. Little background first. I was a lube tech for about a year. I worked my way through it, learned it all after I was a custodian because I didn't like the way people saw me, especially since I worked at a very wealthy college and, you know, they kind of looked at you like you were dirt. So anyways, I went into mechanics, started at $8 an hour. Wow, right? It tells you how far back too. And about a year of that, worked myself up to a technician, then an A technician. So that's a little bit of my background, but I did a ton of oil changes and I want to show you exactly how I would do it when I worked for the dealerships. All right, let's talk about tools required for this job. Tools required for this job are very basic. You need a drain pan, some brake clean to clean up the oil if you make a mess, gloves. I mean, I wear gloves because I don't like getting oil all over my hands. I know I guess I have grease on them, so I'll just skip. But I mean, if you're in California, it causes cancer for you, but only if you're in California apparently. Filter wrench of some sort. I have a claw somewhere that's a claw style that grips the filter as you loosen it, but I can't find it. It's somewhere. And a socket set or a wrench set, whatever you prefer. Very basic parts, very tools. So the first thing we need to do is we need to pop the hood. Oh, a little tech tip. Leave your keys in the car in case, so you don't lose them while you're working on them, and roll your window down so you don't lock them in. So let's go ahead and pop this hood open. Get to see all 6 cylinders of fury. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to check the fluids. So let's start with power steering. It looks good. Smells a little burnt, but it's my car, so I don't care. I would look at the miles, but I know this thing's good on that. Coolant level, yeah, she's a little dry. She needs some coolant. We'll get some later. Let's check the brake master. Looks good. Looks clear. We're good. Air filter, yep, good. Washer fluid, pop it open and then fill it up. I don't have any on me, so I'm not going to fill it. I'll do that later. So next thing, pull your dipstick tube out. It actually helps let the oil go down. I know it sounds weird, right? But anyways, pull the cap, sit it right there. You'll never forget it. If not, you owe the customer a cap or yourself. Then I think this is a sealed transmission. I'm gonna check for a dipstick, that way you can check the fluid. I know it's off and you're supposed to check them running, but you can at least see if there's a little bit on it, and then check it again once the car is running again. So we're done at the top end here. Unless you have a canister filter, then you take your filter out and replace that. But we have cartridge style. Well, it is a canister, sorry, canister style. The one with the little cup that you take out. Anyways, some people have that. So now let's go under the car. Hello again. We are under the car. I have no idea what my camera angle is on, but let's see if we can make it a little better. Anyways, oh, it's a 13. But you can tell your oil, your drain pan, because it's a pan that is connected to the crank. Don't drain the transmission fluid unless you're doing a transmission job. So I'm going to set this tripod up in an area that you guys could see, and then we will continue. All right, so first thing you want to do is pull this drain plug. Make sure you're loosening. So pop her loose. This should not be over tight. If it is, then your lube tech that did it before you, or whoever did, the jackass. Notice how that was not the hardest pull? That's because I did it. Pull your drain plug. You'll feel it to where it's starting to get like this, where you wiggle it. That means it's ready to come out. Pull a little bit just to make sure, and then quickly, really smoothly, boom, pull it out. You'll get very little oil on your fingers. There's a little divot here for the filter. Just lay that there, and we're gonna let that drain. While we're doing that, we're gonna locate our oil filter. It's over here behind this. So we're just gonna take a little break, let this drain 100%. We're in no hurry. We ain't gonna lose the shop. I'll be back in a couple seconds. Drip, 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 little April shower. Alright, when it's starting to drip like that, it means you got enough of the oil out. I mean, you could go longer, ain't gonna do much, but put your plug back in. Thread it in as far as you can go. Make sure she ain't cross-threaded or anything like that, because oil will leak if you cross-thread them. And then you'll have to buy a repair plug or something like that. Put your wrench on, put it on tightening, and then you'll feel it to where it's tightening up, just where you bottom it out, just a little bit more, like, that's it. You do not want to over torque these. You over torque these, you're gonna be cursing at yourself, or the next guy is gonna be cursing at you. Take your brake clean, clean off your mess, and then we're gonna move on to the filter. Okay, we have the filter. It looks like the last time I did this was January of last year, 22. Ooh, no, let's not talk about that. I don't drive very far for work. I have like a 10-minute commute, so let's see if we get lucky and see if I did a good job not over torquing this. She froze on there. All right, we're gonna have to get that wrench. I'm trying to do both things, so bear with me. Look at this. I love this. You have all kinds of room. Okay, Ford engineers, I take it a little bit back because we actually have room to work here. Trying to do this one-handed, guys, so bear with me. Starting to move. Just a little patience. We ain't gonna lose the shop. That's why I'm not a mechanic anymore, because you have to be fast and you gotta be careful at the same time. All right, we got her loose. Let's get our drain pan under it. I'm gonna pull you out of here so you don't get oil over this camera, but I'm gonna just unthread it. It'll start dripping. Let it drip, and then got grease on there. Huh. And then we'll be back. The final thing we have to worry about underneath is putting the new oil filter on. A couple things. Date your oil filters so you know the last time that you did your oil change. Then use clean oil, a little bit on your finger, and rub it on this gasket so that it seats properly. Another thing you want to pay attention to is make sure that the last gasket came off, because sometimes it can stick to the flange, and when it does, you'll butt this gasket right up against it. You get 30-40 psi of oil, it'll blow right out through here. So make sure there's only one gasket on here. I'm going to go thread this on, and then I'll be back up top here. One final thing on oil filters. Do not over torque them. You seat it to where the gasket has been made, and then you go a half a turn more. Reason being is you do not want to over torque them, because they become a real pain in the ass to try to get off if not, especially in some of these harder vehicles to reach, to where you have to snake yourself around and get all contorted like to reach them. But that being said, next thing we need to do after we made sure everything's good and tight down below is come up top and put the oil in. Get your funnel. You want to make sure this is clean as can be. Take your brake clean. I'm going to do it off the side. Spray her in there. Make sure she's dry and all. You want a clean funnel. You do not want to get contaminants in your engine. Take your oil, pour it in. I mean, it's pretty much that. Look up online Let's see what capacity is. I know the capacity and I've done this so many times. I just kind of wing it. So you start pouring this in, and the little dipstick trick I was talking about is when this is getting full, it's not letting any air in, so technically you're building pressure inside the crankcase, and you pulling that dipstick actually vents it to where air can't escape and it doesn't glug or bubble, making it go down a lot faster and, you know, not making a mess. That's kind of nice. So we're going to start with 5 quarts, like that. Oh, don't do the little dipstick thing that you might have saw from like Donut Meter or someone else, where you put the dipstick in and run oil down. It takes way too damn much time. Whoops, I swore. That's my one per video. Now that's done. Yeet. We're going to use that to put the old oil in. Good little trick there. And when you're done with your oil, take it to your local auto parts store, and they have free recycling by law. So wait till this stops dripping a little bit. And then you just take it and yeet it. I got a little dirt on it, but hey, we got brake cleaner to clean it off. So close your cap, put your dipstick in, make sure everything's clear, unless it's going to get in the belts or anything. Then start your engine up. Now, some people will actually pre-fill their oil filters. I don't feel it's necessary on this engine, but if you got a diesel that has like a full like 1.5 pint filter, fill it. That way you don't run your engine dry. But if you listen carefully when I start this engine, you hear it clack a little. That's it from being dry, but it'll build oil pressure really quick. So let's get her started. See, it was clacking for a second, then it got quiet. Run it for about 10 seconds, let it cycle through there, and then we're going to shut it down and check the oil. Regardless of you filling that oil filter or not previously, it's still going to clack a little because you drain the oil and it hasn't gotten back to where it needs to. So let's see. We're at the bottom of the hash, not quite up to that. We want to be right in here, so it looks like I have to add another 1/2 quart. So I'm going to grab a 1/2 quart, fill it up, and that's basically it. A couple other things that I do recommend you do while doing an oil change: check your tire pressure. You're supposed to be doing that bi-weekly anyways. And if you have a cabin filter, check that as well. I took the one out of this because I didn't feel it was necessary, but just a couple other things to check. But that's basically it. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. One of my favorite things after I put a video up is I love the next morning, because I wake up in the morning right away, load up YouTube, and I look and see if I have any comments. I love interacting with you guys. It makes my morning. So even if it's just to tell me how your week's going, your day is going, put it down there. I love interacting with you guys. But I think that's it for this video. I really appreciate you watching to the end, and I hope you all have a really good day. Thank you very much.